My name's Vicky Sheridan, and this is my director's commentary. This opening scene was inspired by Aerosmith's music video, Crazy, featuring Alicia Silverstone. I thought the idea of a teenager skipping school was a great starting point because it's something my target audience can relate to, as most teenagers are rebellious. Although my reasons for using this intertextuality link in well with my whole concept, I realised that maybe only a more mature audience would pick up on this, as Aerosmith is a classic rock band that most youths would not be familiar with. However, this is something I wanted to include in order to widen my target audience. As the opening of the song consists of fast-paced drums, that gives off a very edgy vibe. I wanted to keep the editing very simple and similar to the Crazy video, in order to create the intertextuality so the audience can relate to it. Also, the transition between this shot and the car shot was intentional because the lyric, "Colour me your car," show a relationship with the visual as the car drives around on the word car. I received a lot of feedback about this mid-shot, as it's rather long and kind of drags on too much, and it doesn't really fit in with the upbeat tempo of the song, and maybe I should have thought about using different angles or shots to make the close-ups more interesting. I could have even used various editing techniques such as colour or different transitions to achieve this. This is also something my classmates picked up on and decided that it was an area I could improve on. The shot that I used of the mobile phone I believe to be effective because it gives the audience the impression that Ellen is desired by men, and I feel this is something that my target audience can relate to because every woman wants to feel sought after. My original idea was to use actual shot of guys and Ellen writing her number on their hands, arms, foreheads, etc. However, I could not find any men willing to let me film this, so I decided upon using the mobile phone. I played around with the idea of capturing her with a band, but then it occurred to me that if I am promoting a solo career, then that might cause confusion among the audience. At one point, Ellen, the main character, and one of her friends, they're headbanging in time with the music, and it's going in slow motion to kind of create more of a climax at the end of the song because it's a guitar solo. The next section of the video mainly consists of like a handheld camera focusing on like the party aspect of being like young and a teenager. I wanted to use this effect because it really linked in well with the upbeat atmosphere I was trying to create, and it represents that because it's really edgy and it like makes the audience feel like you're a part of what's going on. I also used the editing technique of slow motion and they're like playing air guitar, and I just thought that it fit in really well with my whole concept, and it was something my audience could relate to because it's just really about having fun and, you know, letting your hair down and being a kid really. The ending also again has a relationship with the song from the way Ellen uses her hand in the sign of like "call me," and I just thought that went really well, and it's kind of humorous in a way from like by the way she does the movement. It's really light-hearted and something that my target audience of 16 to 30-year-olds would find amusing. During my feedback, some of the students in my class felt that the use of a handheld camera was too intense, and maybe I could have used a more steadier approach in the way I actually filmed it, because I was holding it and just like focusing it on the people dancing, so I can see where they're coming from, like because it really is like all over the place to make you feel like really engaged with what's going on. I'm pretty confident using media technologies such as Photoshop, the Premiere Elements, and the blog. Because of this, I think that I had an advantage because some students in my class obviously aren't as confident using these programs. I think my ancillary tasks link in very well to my main project because the way I planned it out was to focus on Ellen as an artist. So I was to focus on Ellen as an artist. So I set up various photo shoots and I took photos, different poses and outfits. And one of the images that I really liked was one of her looking in the mirror, and it really stood out to me because I'm promoting her as a new solo artist, and the mirror to me represents a reflection of herself and what makes her her. All new artists are trying to find something unique and individual that will make them profitable and to help them sell records and basically gain fans. I just thought it was something that was really relevant to the whole solo artist factor. The front cover of my digipack simply consists of the album cover that I made for Ellen Smithson's album. It's just a portrait of her face. Originally I had it in a very washed out kind of black and white colour because I thought that it made it seem more edgy and more rock and roll. But during the feedback I got in class, some of the students commented on how the rest of my digipack, all the images are quite brightly coloured, and that the album cover didn't really fit in with what I was trying to achieve. So maybe I need to reconsider that and change it. The double page spread is the image of Ellen in the mirror, and what I decided to do was write a brief summary from the third person, just basically explaining Ellen's history, how she became a solo artist, and what she did before that. Second part of the DPA is basically just quotes from like an interview with Ellen from her point of view, because it's generally something the fan would read and they want to know what's going on in her head. The back cover of the digipack, it focuses on an image of two people grasping hands, and it's focusing on like the sunset, and at the top I wrote in cursive letters "in this moment" because I wanted to kind of relate back to the actual that I'm using for this song, even though it's Ellen's solo album. I thought including that kind of gives it a bit more intertextuality. Originally I hadn't included a track list, but during the feedback some of the students thought that it would be a good idea to maybe add the song track, or maybe a whole album. I'm thinking maybe an EP version, because Ellen as an artist, this is her like first single. It's something that I'm going to consider. Overall, I think my class generally thought that my digipack was well planned out, professional sound. They seemed to like it, and I think that I've done quite a good job.